Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIII. Time to catch up with Saz and Vanille in this weirdly different circly razor saw thing. And they say that Final Fantasy XIII doesn't have branching paths. It's just you're forced to go down both of them, and they're both very linear.
I wonder how Hope's doing.
They were headed towards Palampolo. Kid's on his way home. You can bet on it.
Now, why would he bet on that?
Good for him.
And he is a gambling addict, but why would he assume that when he already knows that Hope doesn't want to go home?
What's wrong?
It's good. If they manage to slip in quietly. All of Cocoon is in the grip of post-phobia.
Commentary.
If a fal'cie pops up on the radar, all hell of
Like, it's pretty heavy-handed. I can't really defend this.
afraid of what they don't know. Afraid to find out more.
Yes, Final Fantasy XIII, you're so deep.
The older you get.
Really just, yes, Final Fantasy, you're deep. We get it. Cover such deep, meaningful things. Okay, now I'm being unfair. Final Fantasy IX is legitimately interesting in that regard. But anyways,
Gee, thanks.
yeah, we don't have Lightning and Hope, so things took a pretty big turn for the worse. Luckily, Saz is a commando now. He gained the commander role from that last boss fight. So, you're not completely screwed now as you would have been back when you, well, last time you controlled just Saz and Vanille. But, yeah, the thing is, Saz still has very, very slow attack animations, and he still has the same weaknesses he had as a Ravager, it's just now he can sustain the chain gauge at least, but it's still a very mediocre party. The best thing that comes from it is that you have Vanille, who is the only notable saboteur in the entire game. Well, okay, notable for standard reasons, but anyways.
Robots must have built all this.
Yeah, the robots built all this. Why? It doesn't... Why?
You'll be okay with me.
How also, yeah, okay, classic enemy here. This is a reimagining of the classic bomb enemy, which if you know from other Final Fantasy games, it will explode. It'll charge up and then explode and do massive damage. So yeah, watch out for that, I guess. Pretty sure you don't get experience points if you don't kill it. You have to actually reduce its HP to 0. If it explodes, you don't get XP. But yeah, how did that build this? Like, none of these robots are really well designed for doing, well, anything, but especially building. But yeah, when you start running into big groups of bombs, then you start running into the problem where you're pretty much guaranteed to get hit by self-destruct, and that, yeah. The thing about the self-destruct thing isn't really a big deal in this game though, because after every fight you get your health back, and also they're very unlikely to actually kill anyone, and when they self-destruct, odds are the battle's going to end. Like, there are some situations where you'll fight a bunch of enemies and a bunch of bombs, so then that can be a problem, but yeah, just normally it's not really that big of a problem. And then just, if you're really that worried about it, you can always switch into a cure paradigm, and then, boom, you're protected. But yeah, puzzle, quotation marks, elements here, I guess. Like, you press switches, and then the way opens for you. Yay.
Oh well. Looks like it doesn't work.
I'm actually wondering about this little bit. If anyone knows, and mention it in the comments, is this actually like a little puzzle type thing? Like, can you come back here and like somehow get this to work? Because notice that on the map there, it shows the place that I never did go to. And Vanille says something about needing power, so I was wondering if maybe there's actually something you can do with that. So I don't know if anyone knows. That's the thing, actually. I found that the guides for this game are very sparse. When I first started doing this, I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to do so much research and play this game perfectly and stuff like that. And then I realized that there's really not much to it, and as such, the guides aren't very in-depth. At least the ones that I saw. At least not in-depth in the way that I needed. Because quite frankly, I don't need to know the individual elemental weaknesses of enemies because the AI can figure it out for me. And while I guess it's kind of nice to know like what the likelihood of an enemy getting hit by a status effect is, it's still not really vital because it's basically still random. But yeah, gremlins. Woo, new enemy. Not really anything special. They wiggle around. Oh, poor Vanille got left behind. I do feel legitimate empathy for a lot of the ways that the actress playing Vanille portrays her lines. I don't know. She's definitely not like my favorite Final Fantasy character by a long shot, but like I don't know. Like the biggest complaint about her is that she has an Australian accent. Why is that even a thing? I thought people liked Australian accents for one thing. But anyways. Another puzzle? Yeah. You press 4 switches and then it activates a door. Mind-bending. You know, actually I think that Fez actually took inspiration from this game.
Better not electrocute myself.
Yeah, and there's a really weird, really actually quite bad bit of just bad. I guess programming, I guess, but yeah. So I guess bad programming, bad forethought. I don't know. To point it out right after this puzzle finishes. As per usual, Pulsework soldiers have very limited range of vision, so it's very easy to ambush them, and it's still the only really good way to fight them, otherwise you're going to be whittling away at them for quite a while. But anyways. You notice that Saz has something different to say about each of the switches that he presses. The game must have a ton of voice acting in it, considering how much I wonder, because like, it's weird, because the thing you don't really notice with like game cutscenes and stuff like that is that there really isn't that much dialogue, no matter how big it seems. Like, I think Kingdom Hearts has tons of cutscenes, and yet one character, like even like Sora, the main character, will have only like 10 minutes of dialogue in total in the entire like 20-hour game. And Final Fantasy is longer than 20 hours. But so I wonder how much the actual dialogue adds up to. Because really, they don't take into account things like the other actions and stuff like that that go along with the cutscenes and stuff. And yeah, when you think about how like only takes like there's only 10 minutes of dialogue, you have to wonder how long it even takes to actually record all this. I mean, obviously they have to do extra takes and stuff like that. But yeah, I actually just sort of glossed over that whole thing I was building up. But for some reason, there's only one specific switch that Saz can press that will make it so that he says he has to press 4 switches. And I happen to go the wrong way, apparently. So the final switch I press is the one where he says he has to press 4 switches. And I don't get that. It's very easy to program it so that after the first one you press, he says gotta press 4 switches. But for some reason it's tied to that one specific one, the bottom left one I should point out, for no real good reason. I don't get it. I guess they're just not used to actually having anything that's not a straight corridor in this game. Oh good, 300 gil. Yay. This game is very pretty though. One criticism I'll never be able to understand is people say the game has bad graphics. Which is a very uncommon one, but people still will say that. Granted, the waterfall still looks like shit. I don't get it. Why is moving water so hard to capture in a video game? And yet still water is like the easiest thing ever. It's like the most common, good-looking effect you'll find in a game. That really doesn't look comfortable. It's so, look how flat it is. There's no way that's adding anything. There's no added comfort to this. At least like Saz's clothes look like they're at least like really, really padded or something.
What?
But like,
Do
you know,
not cross this line. Understood?
I'd at least wrap myself up in the blanket to keep warm, but no, she just lies on it like it's some sort of cushion, but it's not. It's so flat. Maybe it's really soft, but it looks really patchy. I guess it's supposed to be like a security blanket. I don't know. But yeah, this really mirrors that whole scene with lightning and snow. And it's just another case of character development that just gets thrown out of the window. It's just, why? But yeah, Vanille's sad. And that's sad. Bye. See you next time.